It will help you. So 1.4, I'd like to introduce strategies we're going to work on are marking the text and note-taking, as well as providing information on how to start interviewing. And what did we talk about yesterday? We learned, where is this going to help us in the future of this book? I'm asking you, you can answer. Where is interviewing skills going to help us in the Springboard book in the future? No, not that type of interview. Not a job interview, but interviewing in the embedded assessment. Because to do the embedded assessment 1, we're going to interview someone outside of class and write an essay about that. So this activity is going to help you with that. So you got a partner, you wrote 4 questions at these bullets right here. Then number 3 here talks about open-ended question and closed-ended questions, and it gives examples. Closed-ended questions are ones that have a yes or no answer, and you can read the description there. So on A, explain some of the best parts of soccer is an open-ended question, which would give us a good long answer that we could get information from. On B, what are the advantages and disadvantages of being the youngest child in your family is an open-ended question. We go down to 4, we've got 2 closed questions, and we need to revise them in these areas here, where the hand is bouncing, so that we can understand what an open-ended question is. There are words we can use that are the best way to start these questions that will give us open-ended. Words like explain, or the advantages and disadvantages of, or describe. If you use those words, you can get good, solid, open-ended questions. So now you've revised a couple practice questions. You need to take the questions that you wrote here on 2 in these areas and revise them and write them in question 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to interview your partner, the partner you wrote the questions for. Interview them by asking them the questions and then writing their answers in the space provided, as detailed as possible, because now what we're going to work on is writing this introduction. So you have tons of information now about your partner. If you wrote open-ended questions, you will have that information. If you wrote open-ended questions, you'll have plenty of information to work with. If you wrote closed questions and they answered yes, no, 3, red, maybe, you won't have enough to write a solid introduction of this person. So that's what you're gearing up towards here. Number 8 and number 9 are going to tell you how to write the first and last sentence of your introduction. So they give you 3 examples. You don't need to use all 3, you just need to pick the one you like the best. I would like to introduce whoever, or I would like you all to meet whoever, or this is my new friend, whoever. Pick the one you want and write it in this space below. Go ahead and do that right now. Let's go to number 9. Another challenging part of a presentation is the closing. Some people don't know how to end, and so they say that's it, or I'm done. Don't do that. There's a better way to end a sentence or end a paragraph. And you have 2 choices here. I enjoyed getting to talk to so-and-so because they, whatever. Say something complimentary. Don't say something mean. Or blank is an interesting person, and I'm glad I got the chance to meet my partner because whatever. So in this space here, whoops, I didn't realize I had my projector on. So in that space, you need to write down the conclusion that you want, the ending of your introduction. That's a little confusing. The paragraph you're writing is an introduction, but it's actually the conclusion of the introduction. You get it. Go ahead, write it down. Go. Now you got an introduction, a first sentence to your introduction, and a last sentence to your introduction. So now you got to write the meat of it, the in-between stuff. So all of that is going to come from the information you just gained from the interview. But I want to point out the box on the right side where it says grammar and usage. You need to have in this paragraph a quote, a direct quote or an indirect quote, but you need to deal with it properly. So when you quote someone exactly what they say, you need to have quotation marks. You can see the quotation marks, an example of them right there and right there. Any one of these things on the wall, if in a paper I wrote them down exactly the way they were said, I would have to put quotes around them. That tells the reader that you're about to use other people's words so that you're not stealing their stuff. However, there's something called an indirect quotation, which you can see right there, restates the general meaning of what a person said. Quotation marks are not used with the indirect quotation, so you don't need to do that. So if I, in my paper, said, Confucius told us that seeing what's right and not doing it is not courageous, I wouldn't need to quote that, because did I say exactly what it says up there? No. But I did give Confucius credit for what he said, even though I paraphrased it or put it in my own words. That is an indirect quotation. But using his name to give him credit is still there, versus the quotation marks. So we need to make sure that we have some sort of quote in our introduction. So what do you need to do from now until the end of the hour? That's good. You guys are way ahead of first hour. So assuming you've done the interview and you have information, your next job is to write the paragraph that you will then stand up on Monday and present to quickly the rest of the class. This is an easy one, 30 seconds to a minute probably. You're going to need the introduction, the 2 sentences you've already written, plus you're going to need at least 5 sentences in the middle. At least 5 sentences in the middle to introduce this person properly. Yeah. The paragraph, yeah. Paragraph can be 25,000 if you want it to be, but there's really no minimum or maximum on a paragraph. Well, 1 is a little small. 2 is, yeah. You're gonna need at least 5 sentences in the middle plus the 2 you've already written. So you're gonna need a 7-sentence paragraph. Which, for sophomores in high school, you shouldn't be worried about that too much. Oh, you guys are freshmen, huh? Oh, well, freshmen then. I guess 3's fine. Just write that 1 sentence. No, I'm not serious. You need to write a solid paragraph, a good solid paragraph. I mean, you need to present the person. We need to learn a little bit about them. I mean, you're not going to tell their life story, but we need to get something out of this so we can understand and know our classmates a little better. There's the double. In the same way we learned last week, we tried to take some time to learn people's names. This is kind of the next step in that progression as well. So we're learning how to write paragraphs, learning how to interview, and we're introducing our classmates to each other so we can know them a little bit better, since we have to spend the next 170 days with them. Okay, any questions? Just a paragraph. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. If that gets done, you got no homework. If it doesn't get done, then, well, you have homework.